Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here today to show you just another way that you can use up some of those dried apples that you've got for a tasty treat, especially for breakfast. So let's get started and I'll show you how to do it. So right here I have some apples from 2015. I didn't even bother dehydrating any apples last year because I have dried apples from 2015, 16, and 17 that I still have to work through. This year I might go ahead and dehydrate up some because the more I find things that I can do with my dehydrated apples, the more I want to start putting more up again. But anyway, so what you'll need if you're wanting to serve a family of about 4, then I would say use a whole quart jar of your dehydrated apples. Now you can see mine are in slices like this, using the apple core peeler slicer thing. I don't use the peeling option on it. I'd rather peel them myself because I don't really like the way the peelers work, but I love the way it slices them up easy for me and gets the cores out. So that's how I get such thin slices, and then I just cut those slices in half and then dehydrate them. So this is what I'm going to be using. Since there's only 2 of us, I'm only going to be making half a jar. So for us, that's going to be about 2 cups of apples like this. Now, if they're broken up smaller than this, it's actually going to make more than what you've got. But I do try to pack the apples in here tightly. Now, I still have a little bit left in this jar, so I'm going to throw these in my pan. Okay, so that jar is emptied out. Now to open this jar. And I'm going to use, like I say, about half of this, so I have about 2 full cups of apples, dried apples, in my pan. And now I'm going to put in 1 to 2 cups of water. I'm not really sure how much it is. I just put in enough water to cover the apples. So you can measure it out if you want. Just put, however you want to do it. Just make sure your apples are spread out on the bottom and then fill the water, put the water in there until it just covers the apples. Don't put in too much. But anyway, so let's pour that in there. Okay, get my spoon and push those down. So you can see that's how much water I have in here. So it's just covering those apples. Basically what I'm trying to start with is just rehydrating the apples. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that on my hot plate over here. And I'm going to turn it up to about medium. I'm going to let it cook for about 5 minutes before I move on to the next step. And I'll show you what that is in a minute. Now, while I'm letting that heat up, I want to talk a little bit about extracts. Now, I'm going to be using an extract in this just to add a little bit more flavoring. And today I'm going to add about a tablespoon of the raspberry extract. But some other options, what I did last time when I made this is I used the orange extract. But I've also got, you probably wouldn't want to use these, but I just, in this particular one, but I thought I'd show them to you. Well, vanilla would be good in there. And then I've got coffee and chocolate. I probably wouldn't use these in this particular thing. Now, what I'm making, in case I didn't say it yet, which I don't think I did, is I'm making a topping to go on pancakes. So instead of using syrup or jam, basically what you're doing is you're pretty much making like a quick apple butter or a quick jam of sorts that you're going to put on top of your pancakes or your waffles, and it's really good. So then some other options here is I just started this today, so it's very thin. The only reason it has this much color already is because I use my blackberry wine as part of the solvent for extracting the sour cherries. These are the freeze-dried sour cherries I get from Mother Earth Products, and I love these things. I like to eat them right out of the bag. They're so good. I try not too much, but they are really good. So anyway, I put a big handful in this little half-pint jar, and then I put in about this much glycerin, and then the rest of it was the blackberry wine. So that's my solvent. And I'm going to let that sit for at least a good month or so, maybe more like 6 to 8 weeks. But because of the freeze-dried seems to really infuse quickly, I'm thinking a month it'll be ready. So I'll keep you updated on that. And here's some of the cherries left in this jar. I think I have one more jar left. And if you're interested in the Mother Earth products, I have a link always in my description box below. And if you go through that link, you can save 10% on your order. And if you order like $99 worth or more, you get free shipping. But you can even just go small, start small, and just get they have like sample packs. You can buy the freeze-dried stuff in little tiny bags so you can at least try it, taste it, see if you even are going to like it before you invest in any bigger batches. So I recommend going that route. But I've been happy with everything I've got so far. That's some ideas for extract. The next time I do this, something like this, I want to try the cherry extract, and that's what made me think to get this started, because I do have a recipe out there, a video on making dried apple pie. I'll go ahead and link to right up here. And in that one, I used our own grape juice from our own grapes, but I've made it before using a cherry juice as the liquid in there. And oh boy, it was so good. And then I made fried apple pies out of that. Fried dried apple pies. And so they were tasty, just real powerful punch. And that's the really great thing about dried apples, is they just seem to have more flavor when you recook them and use them in things like pies, or what I'm doing right here. So anyway, it's starting to heat up. I'm gonna let that cook for about 5 minutes to help rehydrate and soften those apples, and then I'll be back in a few minutes for the next step. Okay, so I'm back. I let that cook for a few minutes. And so now what I'm going to do, and this is more if you want a quicker method of getting a nice thick sauce kind of thing, is take about a tablespoon of some kind of starch. It can be arrowroot powder, tapioca starch, or organic non-GMO cornstarch. Any of those would work well. I typically use either arrowroot or tapioca. I honestly don't know which one this is. I use them both. To me, I haven't found any difference between the two. As long as I can get a good organic one that I know is, not, I try to avoid corn because it's harder to find the non-GMO kind. But anyway, mix that well in about no more than a quarter cup of water. I would say an eighth cup of the smallest amount of water you can. And then go ahead and pour that into your pan with your apples. So you can see this in here. Stir that in there. I actually had to turn the heat off for a little bit because I had some company. But anyway, so I probably could have mixed that right in there. The thing is you don't want to mix your starch, whatever it is, into a hot liquid. It's going to clump on you. You want to mix it in with cold liquid. That's why I had it that way. All right, and so now to this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add probably about a half cup of honey or more. It's just going to depend. I'll have to taste it as I go. And you can use some organic sugar or whatever kind of sweetener you want. Something that's going to also help thicken it up though, where stevia might not work the same way. So I recommend honey. So I'm just going to eyeball it. That looks like about a half cup right there. Okay. And then I'm going to put this back on my heat source and then let that cook for a little bit longer. The other thing you might want to add is some cinnamon, and I'm going to put in cinnamon. Depending on how much cinnamon you like, you may only want to put a quarter teaspoon. I usually put in this much, about a tablespoon, so it makes it really dark brown, but we like lots of cinnamon. And I usually measure with the lid or with, whoa. That's more than a tablespoon. I have small hands, so a tablespoon fills up my whole hand. So that's how much I'm going to use. Okay, so I'm just turning this heat back on. It was off for a little while. And so I just want to mix that in there really good. The apples are all nice and soft, which is where I want them to be. And so all I need to do is heat it up and let it cook for just a few minutes, long enough for the sauce part of it to thicken up now that I've got that tapioca starch in there. Or arrowroot powder, whichever one it is. Okay, so I'll be back when this is thick and then I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so I'm ready for the last thing that I got to do, and that is I'm going to add in a little bit of my raspberry extract. Again, any fruit flavor would go well in here, and that's just to add a little bit more flavor to it and just give it a little more zing. And vanilla though would be great too. So now the sauce is all done and you're ready for it to go on your pancakes or your waffles. And I'm going to insert some pictures right here. What I did is I just did a video on how to make whipping cream. I'll go ahead and link to up there in the corner. Tomorrow morning when I make the pancakes for breakfast, I'm going to be adding a dollop of whipping cream on top of the apple sauce, the dried apple sauce on top of the pancakes, and I think it's going to be pretty tasty. So just a really quick and easy way that and tasty too, that you can use up some of those dried apples that you put up a year, 2 or 3 ago. So hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.